If you're going to fish bonefish in Cuba or anywhere else in the world, you've got to have shrimp patterns with rubber legs. And today I'm going to tie you up Don's red-eyed shrimp. So make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we're going to use a size 6 stainless steel, some 6/0 olive brown thread to tie with, it's a 5.4 red 14mm Eisen tube, eyes for the eyes, some tan rabbit for the tail, some gold electro braid for the body, some barred tan brown rubber legs for the legs, and some saltwater ocean green crystal flash for the underwing. So to start the fly off, I've actually put my Eisen tubes onto the hook, which is very easy to do. Wrapped on my thread, and now I'm just going to secure those Eisen tubes in place right at the rear of the hook, because we want these eyes to look like a shrimp pattern. So make sure you secure them in place so they don't move. Once your eyes are in place, I'm going to take 2 rubber legs, but I'm going to double them on my thread, so I actually form 4 legs. And again, we're tying this on the top of the fly, which will be the bottom of the fly. And wrap them in good. And we'll cut them to length a little later on once we get a rabbit tied in. Now once we have essentially the legs and the tail tied off the back, I'm going to take some of my tan rabbit. One thing to remember when you're tying this pattern, when the hook is in upright, you're actually tying this upside down. So we want the leather part or the skin part of the rabbit to face up. Make sure your rabbit is down and tie that in to form the rabbit tail. Once the rabbit's tied in, we want to cut it to length, and we don't want too long a tail. I want it to be about 1 inch long, maybe just a little bit longer, inch and a half. So that's cut, and then what we're going to do is bring our legs back, or the tail legs. I'm going to leave 2 a bit shorter. I want 2 shorter and 2 a little bit longer, about as long as the tail, just so we have a little variation in length there for the tail legs. Next step to the fly is take a strand of your electro braid, and I like to start this behind the eyelet and then move forward. Move to the back, and you're going to have to cover up a lot of the body that you put on near the eyes. Move your thread forward and then wrap your body. Your body's going to be a little bit bushier at the back because of the Eisen tubes, but that's pretty normal for a shrimp. And then you're just going to taper it forward towards the eyelet. Once you have the body tied in, we're going to tie in the underwing, and that's using the saltwater crystal flash, which is quite a bit stiffer than normal crystal flash. It just holds it in place. And we're going to put this on, again, the underside of the fly, which will be the top when we turn it over. And I want this to extend just past the hook bend, about 1 inch past the hook bend, but not as long as the tail. So don't go quite to the end of the tail, almost to the length of the leather on the rabbit, and then tie that in near the eyelet. Once we have the underwing tied in, I've taken, again, another rubber leg, and what I'm going to do is tie a rubber leg in and kind of forming the leg, another leg in the antenna off each side of the hook. So I've got one on one side. I'm going to tie that in and make sure it's even or parallel with the hook. And then I'll take another rubber leg and do the same thing on this side and make sure it's pulled parallel to the hook, and then tie them in good. To finish the fly off, I'm going to take my whip finisher and whip finish right at the head. So I'll make sure we take 3 or 4 good wraps, pull it through, whip finish, and now what I'm going to do is cut my legs to length. So I've got some antennae out the front. I want them to be, a good 1.5 inches long, and I want the legs to extend back as long as the tail. So we'll probably go just past the length of the rabbit we put in. And cut one there and do the same on the other side. Just past the length of the rabbit and trim it off. So there it is, Don's red-eyed shrimp. This pattern has proven itself year after year in Cuba, and I imagine it'll work anywhere for bonefish. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.